Hi, welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany and welcome to another Spotlight Saturday. So I've begun doing these Spotlight Saturdays kind of sporadically. It hasn't been as consistent as I would like so far, but I've done at least one Spotlight Saturday per month, and this is just a video that comes out on Saturday where I am spotlighting something specific that I would like to talk about. And today's spotlight is about the Buzzwordathon prompt for the month of March. I am doing the Buzzwordathon this year. I also did it last year, and I'm using it to kind of help me pick and choose books off of my Reader Rid Challenge TBR for the year. So that way I can kind of get through some books that have been sitting on my shelf for a while, or maybe I don't really have that much interest in reading. However, none of the books that I want to mention today are actually on that TBR because I do not have a single book that is on my Reader Rid project that has the word secret in the title. So all of these books do have the word secret in the title, and I will have them kind of divided up into genres. The two primary genres are mystery and middle grade, which both work really well in the month of March because March is middle grade March and also March Mystery Madness. Some of these mysteries, actually quite a lot of these mysteries, maybe all of them. Yeah, I think all of them are also classics, which is probably not surprising to you. So let's go ahead and dive in. I can't mention mysteries without mentioning the Queen of Mystery herself, Agatha Christie. So there are actually two Agatha Christies that have the word secret in the title, and I'm going to mention them both here. The first one is The Secret of Chimneys, and this is a mystery that is not based on like a specific detective. Well, it is, but it's not Poirot or Miss Marple, like her two main detectives. This is about a girl, and her name is like, I'm spacing her name right now, but she has two books with this girl as the detective, and she's not actually truly a detective. She's just she's a regular person just trying to figure things out, but there are two books that this person is the protagonist trying to figure them out, and this is the first of the two books, but you don't need to read them in a specific order. I didn't, and I was just fine. There wasn't spoilers from the other books if you're reading them in incorrect order. So Secrets of Chimneys was really fun. I'm pretty sure I rated that one 4 stars. I really enjoyed that one. The other one is possibly maybe more spy themed than mystery themed, and that's A Secret Adversary. This is part of the Tommy and Tuppence series, which is about a husband and wife duo. And I think that this is book 1 in the Tommy and Tuppence series. So this is an excellent place to start if you have not tried any Tommy and Tuppence before. I do think that the Tommy and Tuppence series does kind of build on itself as it goes. So that is a series that is best read, I think, in the publication order, which is not really true of most other series that Agatha Christie has written. Another classic mystery writer that maybe came to mind when I mentioned March Mystery Madness is G.K. Chesterton and his Father Brown series. These are a series of short stories that are about a priest, Father Brown, who is solving mysteries. And the 4th short story in the collection is called The Secret of Father Brown. And I haven't read that much Father Brown. I think I've just read like 1 or 2 of the first ones, so this is not one that I have read, but I do like Father Brown. I think they're just good, like cozy mysteries. I don't think that they're quite up to par with Agatha Christie because I definitely have had people recommend a couple of authors to me that they felt like were similar to Agatha Christie, and I didn't really agree, and I didn't even really love the other author that I read, but I did like the little bit of Father Brown that I read, but they are short stories rather than full-length novels. So another kind of espionage / mystery classic is The Secret Agent by Joseph Conrad. I actually have not read this one yet, so I'm recommending it sort of, but not really because I haven't read it. So I'm just kind of mentioning it as a suggestion because it does have the word secret in the title, and it is about spies / mysteries. I'm getting ready to read my very first Joseph Conrad, and it's not this one, unfortunately. It's Heart of Darkness, But I do really want to read this one. I know Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space read this book last year and really, really loved it. And our tastes very commonly align. So I'm excited to read this one. It is a shorter classic. And it says it's an ironic tale of espionage, counter-espionage, and the miseries inflicted on innocent and simple people by political extremism. So it sounds like there's also some interesting maybe discussions to have about this book as well. Another book I've really, really been wanting to read and was hoping to read last year but didn't get to is a Victorian classic, and that is Lady Audley's Secret by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. I've talked to quite a few people who read this book, and the year that they read it, it was one of their favorite books of the year. So that's a pretty high endorsement, and it is about a woman who is keeping some sort of secret. And I think you find out like before the climax of the book what the secret is, but it doesn't say what it is on the back. And so I'm not going to go looking for it because I don't want to spoil that for myself. I like to know as little as possible going into books, but I have heard really wonderful things about this book. And also, I love these Oxford World Classics. I love the artwork that they choose to go on the front of them. And I'm also intrigued by the little blurb on the back that just says, Lady Audley's Secret subtly undermined the Victorian myth that female self-assertion was a form of insanity. So that's interesting. Okay, let's move on to middle grade. So moving on to middle grade, but actually still kind of in the mystery category as well, I want to mention a couple of mystery series that are middle grade series that maybe you've already thought of, but they do have secret in the title. So the first one being the Nancy Drew series. There are quite a few Nancy Drew books that have secret in the title, most notably the first book, The Secret of the Old Clock, which I just recently read. I did a reading vlog where I read this, and I would not say that this is a wonderful place to start with Nancy Drew, despite it being book one. I think it's a little slow and not the best mystery out of the bunch. So while it does have secret in the title, that might not be the one that I recommend, but there are other options to choose from as well. In addition, in that same vlog, I read Trixie Belden, the first book of that, which is The Secret of the Mansion. So it also has the word secret in it and is a lot of fun, kind of outrageous at times in some of the scenarios that take place. But it was a super fun reading experience, and I compared the two protagonists, Trixie and Nancy, in that vlog, but both of them have the word secret in the title. The next book that I'm going to recommend is one that I actually have not read, but my daughter has, and it's a fantasy book, and that's The Secret of Platform 13 by Eva Ibbotson. And this is a book that very much includes a lot of kind of mythical creatures in it. Like you can see from the front that there's like a fairy, and I actually don't know what he's supposed to be. I don't know if he's some sort of wizard, and there's a hag, and it talks about mermaids and ogres. And so underneath platform 13 in the train station is the entrance to this magical world with all of these magical creatures, which if that sounds anything like, you know, platform 9 3/4 from Harry Potter, it actually says right on the front that it's a perfect fit for fans of Harry Potter. So I don't know, maybe there's not the same like magical school element or things like that, but the train station element is there, especially with like the secret entrance. So apparently it's kind of become sort of like a classic in middle grade fantasy. And I use the word classic really loosely because it was written in the early 90s, I think. So it's not like it's all that old, but I think it's inspired a lot of the more modern fantasy books that have been written for middle grade. Next up is the first book in a middle grade mystery, maybe kind of also sort of adventure-y type series. And that's the name of this book is Secret by pseudonymous Bosch. And just the title of this, the cover of this, the fake pen name is very reminiscent of Lemony Snicket to me. And I think that it does kind of tie in a little bit because there's definitely like humor and mystery. And my daughter has really enjoyed this book and has gone on to read more in it. And some of the other titles are, if you're reading this, it's too late. This book is not good for you. And book 4 is This Isn't What It Looks Like. And so I love the titles. I think it's a lot of fun, and it has to do with some mystery and intrigue, and I think looking for the secret to immortality. So it sounds really, really fun. Next up is a lesser known book by, I think, a well-known author, and that is The Secret Keepers by Trenton Lee Stewart, who wrote The Mysterious Benedict Society, which is a well-known mystery, puzzle-solving middle grade series that has also been made into a TV show, I think, or maybe it's a movie. I can't remember which one. But lots of people have heard of The Mysterious Benedict Society, but I've really never heard anyone talk about Secret Keepers. And it's a really fun one, and I love the cover. I think it's so pretty. So this young boy basically discovers a watch, and then he discovers that it has some mysterious powers, and he has to kind of try to decide what he's going to do with those powers and how he's going to use them. And yeah, so it's interesting. I'm not going to say too much more than that, but it's a really fun one. And then I saved my favorite for last. This is both a classic and a middle grade. And if you've been here for very long, you may know that this is like my ultimate favorite childhood book. And that's The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This may have even very quickly come to your mind when you thought of a book with the word secret in the title, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it now, especially because it's March, and March is the perfect month to read The Secret Garden. If you haven't heard of The Secret Garden, or you haven't read it, it's about this young girl, Mary Lennox, who has been raised by very wealthy parents in India, but they're not good parents. They pay no attention to her at all. She gets everything that she wants from the servants because they're told just to placate her, to keep her quiet and keep her away because her parents are too busy partying and doing whatever, and they don't really want to pay attention to her. So at the beginning of the book, her parents and pretty much everyone else around her very tragically passes away from a sickness that sweeps through, and she is sent to England to live with an uncle that she's never met before. She goes from the heat of India to the coldness of the moors in England, and it starts out kind of like at the end of winter and beginning of spring, and she stumbles across this garden, and it's just atmospherically like the perfect time of year to read this book, but it has even more to do with Mary's growth than it does the growth of the garden itself, and you just see her transform as a person. And honestly, it is such a magical book, and I love it so much. I just reread it a couple of years ago out loud to my daughter, and it was such a treasure to be able to share one of my favorite books of childhood with her for the first time. And we read it in March, which is again the perfect time where, you know, it's kind of starting to get warmer and it's kind of tipping on the edge of like, is it spring or is it winter? And you might start seeing some growth and some green things come out, and this is just the perfect time of year to read this book. So if you haven't read it, I hope that you do. If you have read it, you should reread it, especially if you're participating in the Buzzwordathon. And again, fits in with Middle Grade March because it is middle grade. Well, that is it for this Spotlight Saturday. I hope that this video was inspirational for you if you are participating in the Buzzwordathon and maybe you're looking for some books that maybe aren't thrillers, because I feel like a lot of thrillers and a lot of mysteries have the word secret in the title, but if you're looking for something just a little bit different, then maybe this video is helpful to you to discover maybe some books that you hadn't heard of. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. What are some books that you like that has the word secret in the title? Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me, and I will see you again next time.